of the week.
Wait a minute. You're supposed to say this is thoughts of the week.
This is thoughts of the week.
All right. Thank you. Welcome everybody. Thank you for coming in. You are listening to Thoughts of the Week. And this Thoughts of the Week came to me a little while ago. I wanted to speak on it. And basically I wanted to speak on fathers. Fathers and their connection with their children, their interactions with their children, spending time with their children. And what came to me was I was thinking back on my daughters. They are grown now, but I was thinking a few things about them when they were smaller and how smart they were at a young age and how quickly they picked up on things that they learned. I remember a particular time when both of them was having trouble with I think it was math in school when they were in elementary school. They didn't know how to figure out certain math problems, and I recall showing them an easier way to figure the stuff out, to figure out how to figure out whatever math problems they, faced at the time. And it was like, it was the greatest thing to them to have learned that particular way, which kind of brings me to thinking about how the school system does things now. And the ways that teaching the kids is not even benefiting the kids. They're not even learning how to do things. But I was thinking about that. I can't remember what particular type of math they were learning at the time, but I just remember teaching them how to do it and giving them a better way of figuring out that the school system wasn't even teaching anymore. It was the ways that I learned back when I was a kid. And it seems that particular way, and then me just realizing through what I've learned and then giving it an even better version of showing them how to do it. And I want to challenge you fathers out there who have small children, who have teenage children, who have grown children, to be an advisor to them, be their leaders, being able to guide them, because truth be told, even as adults, your children can still gain a lot of wisdom from advice from you fathers, even when your kids are adults. And I want kids out there who are adults. You might just be becoming 18, 19, you're in your 20s. Even beyond that, even if you're 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, you still can get advice about something. There's always something you might not know, or you might not be sure of, or you kind of debating about, and you can always go to your dad with some help in making a decision, with some help in learning how to do something. You might not know something, with some advice. All right. So to all the girls and boys, sons and daughters who have a father still and they're in your life, don't be afraid to ask them for advice, for some type of knowledge, some type of information or some guidance. You might have a particular thing you was thinking about doing and you're not sure about it, and they might be able to provide you some information that'll help you make the right decision. All right. And like I said to you fathers, you still can be in their lives. You still can offer advice. When you see, you might see things, and your kids might, well, as they get older, they don't want to say much to you for a number of reasons. We can go into that and probably be speaking all day. But always let your kids know that they can always come to you with anything, man. Just basically anything. The good, the bad, the indifferent, the in between. Let them know that they can come to you at any time and at any age. Always let them know. And that was another thing I remember telling my kids when they were young. I always done it all the way till they became adults. Always let them know that if they had something on their minds, something was bothering them, they can tell me. They could come to me if they had something they want to know. Give me a call. You can talk to me. You can ask me. Excuse me. If they had any advice, they needed some advice, that they always can come to me. So I think they know that they can do that even at their adult age now. And that's something I want to push to you guys who are fathers now. Also, to you fathers who have small children, pay close attention to them, because you'll start to see as they're growing from 2 years old on up, you'll start noticing they have certain talents. And you might want to start cultivating that. You might have certain things you thinking you want your child to do, but you'll start noticing sometimes on their own, they'll start getting into things, and you can start figuring out and looking at what they're getting into, if it's something on the positive side, and you can start figuring out that might be something that they take into their adulthood and become professional at, and possibly make a lot of money from. You might have athletes, children, and you start noticing at an early age they're constantly running around the house and doing a lot of physical stuff. So you might want to start, then those are the kids that you notice. You might want to put them into some type of sports, and you start experimenting with them as far as putting them in different sports, and seeing which ones they kind of gravitate towards, and they're real good at it, natural, got that raw natural talent in that particular sport. You might have some artists, or even artists that might become architects that design buildings, and architects get a lot of money designing buildings, making plans for brand new buildings. So an artist can end up turning into an architect. Or you might have an artist that draws cartoon characters very good at an early age, just got natural talent. And your kids might be artists for even doing movies. They have these movies out now, all these kids movies, and they might be real good cartoonists and get paid doing that. They might get paid doing magazine or comics. So you just never know. You have to pay attention to your children, man. Keep an eye on them. Also, always watch them during their school years, because the influences are out there, and you have to always be able to have that balance to show, they're shown one thing from other students who might not have both of their parents, or might not have the guidance, whether it's from the mother or father, that's good for their growth. And your kids are going to run into other kids that are influenced by other areas that's not as positive. So you got to be able to, when they bring stuff home, because they're going to learn. You learn from everything. You're going to learn from being around people. You're going to get influenced from television. You're going to get influenced from radio. You're going to get influenced from the environment that you're in. And so you got to be prepared, fathers, to step in and put that balance back and let them see and know that, yeah, they might have seen this, but this is really the right way to go. This is the correct way to handling things. Also, I noticed from especially, I would say black parents, black fathers, black children in particular, they have to learn how to protect themselves, because it's a true reality that a lot of times black children get in school, there's going to be opposition because other black kids or other kids from other races have some type of dislike towards your son or daughter. So I think it's very important to teach your kids how to protect themselves, self-defense, self-protection, and have some real self-protection skills. A holistic point of view, from being able to protect themselves standing up on the ground, being locked up with the other person, being able to understand about improvised weapons, because the day and age we live in, unfortunately, it's that type of day and age where violence is kind of prevalent. And so instead of all this taking the route of not hitting back, I know the schools have a certain policy, and maybe I'll get on that a little deeper in another video, another soundcast, but the schools have their policy, which is not favorable when you honestly trying to protect yourself legitimately. They have a policy that kind of favors, that mimics the jail system, if you want to be honest about it. So, but I rather, if I had small kids and adult kids, but we're talking far as school age is concerned, I'd rather them know how to protect themselves against multiple people jumping them, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's multiple people, whether they happen to be on the ground, whether they're standing up, whether they're in the clinch, they're clinched and having to fight in that position. I'd rather my kids know how to protect themselves and live another day rather than having their face bashed in because the school system is going to do something about it. See, the school is not, again, won't stand up for someone standing up for themselves in a legitimate situation, unfortunately. So I think that's an important thing I say to you fathers, black fathers in particular, with your black children. Teach them some type of self-defense, self-protection skills, because it'll also take them to be good for their adulthood. They'll be able to protect themselves and then learn to protect their family and pass on that information to their kids. As far as the self-protection information, that'll be good to start a generational thing where you're passing on something like that from one generation to the next, and everybody always knows how to protect themselves. And then they can pass it on to their families, and they can protect their families. So I think that's important as well. Another thing that's important is to, especially, again, I'm talking about black men, black fathers to their children, and this goes for both sons and daughters. Start teaching them about entrepreneurship, learning how to be entrepreneurs, learning to have several side businesses going on, even when they're in school. Because this is, again, like I said, there's so much that I could talk about the public school system that they're not teaching. And unfortunately, the real world is a little different from what is being taught, other than the normal math, science, social studies, English, reading, spelling, those type of things. But the real world, they got to know how to make different streams of income, because that's the day and age we live in. Believe it or not, a lot of jobs are going to be lost again, whether people see that, understand it or not. And especially like these retails, because a lot of things are going digital. There are some things where they still need a physical person, but you can still start a business even on that level as far as services. If you start a business that's a service or a product. All right. So that's another important thing you guys need to teach your kids, is definitely entrepreneurs. Learn to be entrepreneurs. And let me see, is there anything else? I want to definitely congratulate you guys for taking that responsibility of being a father, man. Even if you're not with the child's mother, you still can be a positive example to your children and understand that you can do that. All right. So I want to thank you guys again for checking me out on Thoughts of the Week. Hopefully this is a help to you guys. And we'll see you next time on another Soundcast episode. All right. Peace.